The nice guys apologize for any inconvenience that this podcast has caused anyone. By the way, is there anyone listening who knows how to fly a plane? Need an education on how to grow your business? The nice guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, nice guy community, welcome back, welcome back. It is the Nice Guys on Business today.
You know, you really should go out for that game show thing. Isn't there like a there's got to be like a school for game show. What do you want to call those guys that hang out with the game show hosts? Not like Vanna White, but you know the ones that do like the
sidekick. I like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, like,
I could do that.
I think Ellen could actually use a sidekick that's kind of has your personality and style.
Didn't she have like a DJ or something?
She did, and maybe she still does. The last time I watched the Ellen show, it's been years since I watched the Ellen. Is Oprah still on, or is she no longer on? I mean, I know she's not on.
Oprah's everywhere, I think. I think Ellen was still straight last time I watched the show.
That is a long time ago.
Long time ago. Anyway, my name is Strickland Bonner. That's Doug Sandler on the other side of the microphone. We are the Nice Guys on Business. We have Mike
DeCecco.
You see, we just listened to it. And
I know you listened to it, but that is a hard one. How nice guy community? How would you pronounce DeCecco? You would think it would be DeCecco, and that's all. That's what Strick kept saying. But I said no. It's Mike DeCecco. Yeah. But no, to pay no attention to his name for a second. The business that he's in is what's really cool. Now, if you're not a parent, it is okay because Mike actually has a lot of great things to talk about how to expose the products and the services that you do to an audience so that you're doing it in a unique way. You're creating a unique channel, and this community that he has created with is the name of his company Parent Co?
Parent Co, yeah. He actually reached 1 million unique visitors in his first 6 months. That's amazing.
Well, it's all about the angle that you take, and it's all about the I don't know. Do you call it a vertical market? Like would parents be like a vertical market?
I guess. I mean, we do want to get to our sponsor before we get too deep into Mike, because I know you guys talk about it a lot in the actual interview. And our sponsor today is Interview Valet, and these
Tom
guys,
Schwab, these guys,
they do an amazing job on Interview Valet. And if you don't think you need interviews on, like, if you don't need to be interviewed on podcasts, you really do. I mean, if you want to grow your business, it is an amazing way because podcast audiences are so focused, as we well know. When you learn how to get interviewed on podcasts and get your message across, it can be great for your business.
Well, it is all about taking your message and bringing it to the specific market that will be in tune to your products and services. For example, if you go on a podcast and you have, and you're in the auto business and there are, believe it or not, there are automotive podcasts. There are podcasts pretty much for any topic that you want to discuss. And it is definitely the way to go. Podcasting is the way to do it. And if you've never been on a podcast before, Tom and his gang over at Interview Valet not only help prep you, but they help keep the message and the content going because they help you with their social media posts. All they're going to do, or what they're going to do, is actually present you to this full book of podcasts, the list of podcasts that they have, but they do all the legwork for you. They make all the calls. They make the introductions. All you need to do is sign up with your schedule to do the podcast. It's pretty much that simple. And when you get on a podcast, it doesn't cost you money to go on a podcast. It's not like if you're going to come on the Nice Guys on Business podcast, it's free to come on here. Now, Mike and his gang, Tom and his gang, there is a fee for what they do, and your fee would based upon the level of service that you get from them. But they're gonna do it all for you, so that's pretty cool. So go ahead and sign up for Interview Valet. At least click on the link in the show notes and get more information from them, so you can see what it's all about.
And the other link you need to click on is the Be More Biz Conference, which is next week. This is your last opportunity to sign up. I think we might have like 2 slots available.
This is Friday. So that means it's like in 3 days, people.
I know, 3 days. Baltimore Be More Biz Conference, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, November 7th, 8th, and 9th. Monday is just Monday Night Cocktails. Tuesday is Mastermind and speakers all day. Wednesday is more Mastermind and us talking and recording our episods. And you can be a part of it.
And this is the really the last opportunity to do it, because after this episode today, the next one we will be in the throes of it. So We are definitely not taking walk-ins.
Yeah, so this is it. I mean, really, I think we might possibly have 2 slots left if you're in DC, and we're still going to do the discount code because we're speaking at DC Podfest.
That's a tough one, DC Podfest.
We're speaking at DC Podfest. We're probably speaking right now as you're listening to this recording because it's like 11 a.m. in DC on Friday. We are speaking at DC Podfest, and those last 2 slots may get filled up after our speech.
I'm excited for us to do. This will be the first time that you and I have ever been on been at the front of a room or on a stage or whatever. I don't even know the format that we're actually walking into, but this is the first time that we've ever done it. Adding humor to a business podcast, actually adding business to a business podcast. Hold on.
I know. Doug, what the hell are we actually doing right now at the DC Podfest anyway? I have no idea.
I think that the category that we are speaking on is, or the subject we're speaking on is adding humor to a business podcast.
Oh, no, I know the subject. I'm just saying, what the hell are you and I doing?
I don't know. I mean, aren't we going to figure that out when we get on the stage?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We always do. I mean, that's how we roll with the podcast too, right?
So what I figured that I was going to do, Strick, is actually I'm going to create. I think we're supposed to talk for like 40 minutes.
Okay.
So what I think we're going to do is I'm going to start and I'm going to get into a couple of icebreaker things just to get the room a little bit loose, and then I'm going to have. Then you're just going to take over and you're just going to talk. Couldn't you just? If I said Strick, just go. Could you just go?
Oh sure, hell yeah, I could do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to start with Simon Says or something though, right?
We're going to start with something fun. I know I'm going to do a fun icebreaker activity. Then we're going to get on to some of the subject matter, which is going to be adding humor to a business podcast. We're going to talk about some of the fun guests that we've had. We're going to talk about some of the gaffes that we've had over the last 230 some odd episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about exactly how to engage your audience. I know one thing that we're not going to talk about is how to monetize a podcast.
Because we haven't figured out how to do that.
Or
That's for goddamn sure.
But
I think the first question we're going to have to ask is, hey, does anybody have any idea who we are? That's what I really want to know.
Yeah, that was interesting. So you sent me that email. I don't know. I don't think anybody is going to know who we are.
But that's what I want to find out. I mean, but these are podcasters, right? So they listen to presumably other podcasts. I'm just very curious to see if there's anybody in the audience who actually is a listener or who has any idea who we are.
All right. I get it. I could see how there could be some a level of curiosity and interest about that. But as you look at the list of the other speakers that are going to be at DC Podfest, the question that I would ask you is, are any of them recognizable names to you?
Okay, you got me on that one. You're right.
No, right?
No, that's a good point. You're right. I don't know who any of them are. Tim, the one guy from Libsyn I know.
Yeah,
because
we've had a chance to actually chat with him about the whole monetization thing. So, there was right as I was about to deliver a speech in Tampa, which is where I was last weekend, talking to the Collegiate Entrepreneurial Organization CEO. One of the things that the guy that was emceeing the entire event, a friend of mine, his name is True Pettigrew, what he had said, and that is a real name. True had said to me, listen, I think that my philosophy, and I don't know if you adhere to this, Doug, but my philosophy is speak to impact, not to impress. So not impact. I mean, you want to impact, not impress.
Okay.
And so my point to that is, what do we possibly get out of other than information that we'll get some information out of it. But if you ask the question, any of you know us, and yes, we will ask that question, but how does knowing that answer help them at all? It doesn't, right?
I guess not.
Okay. I mean, it is selfish. It is a selfish question to ask, and I'm happy to ask it because I'm a selfish guy that way.
It's a totally selfish question to ask. I still want to ask it though. So.
No, I agree. We will definitely ask the question. I think that the whole philosophy of impact and not impress is really important. Haven't you ever been, and I know you have because you've listened to motivational speakers all the time. Haven't you ever sat in a room and listened to a guy just say a whole bunch of horse shit about himself and you get done with it and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, God, yeah, definitely.
Those are like the worst speeches. It's the guys that are humble, the ones that actually have a lesson to share, and not because it's a lesson of how great and powerful they are. Actually, the best stories I love to hear about are the failures that people have had in their lives because it makes me feel like to a certain degree there's some relatability. So
absolutely.
I don't know. One guy I can tell you that has not been a failure is Mike DeCecco.
Oh, nice way to bring it back.
Did you like
there.
that? Did you like that?
Mm-hmm.
So Mike is our interview today. If you have not had a chance to listen to the first 10 minutes of this, if you're just kind of forwarding through it waiting to get to the interview, it's coming. But check this out, because Mike definitely understands about the importance of marketing your business in a special way. 1 million unique visitors to parentco.com, I think is his website. But we wanted to check it out. We've covered. Let's see. We've introduced ourselves. We got that right. So check that off the list, right?
Mm-hmm. We talked about our sponsor today, which is Interview Valet.
Okay. Oh, you know what we haven't done? We haven't done the nice guy promise statement.
Oh my gosh, we didn't do that on Monday either.
We did not do that Monday either. And you know what? I can't find it.
It's only one sentence.
I can't remember.
To provide a learning experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life. That's it.
Did you write that somewhere, or do you just?
That's the whole promise statement.
That is our promise statement. And did you write it somewhere, or you just know it?
I plead the fifth on that one.
I bet you probably wrote it because it sounded almost.
I have it right here in the show notes. Yes, I'm looking at our show notes.
What did you like hijack my show notes for the show, because I don't see it in my version of the show notes for the show.
I've already written up my show notes for this show, and
when is Anna coming back?
Soon, I hope. Oh my gosh.
When is Anna coming back? Anna where is she, in Germany?
I think she's in Germany. Yeah.
She's for somebody that is just got out of school or newly in the workforce. She goes a lot of places.
That's all good though. She's moving to Arizona. If anybody's got a job in Arizona for Anna, please speak up.
She's still doing that. Pardon my Yiddish. She's still doing that fakakta idea of taking a rowboat across the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh yeah, that's next year, next November.
It's crazy. I hope she got enough money. I know that you bid or you
I put money in for their website. Mm-hmm.
I donated to, and I think that was just for the application. I think it was a couple $100 for the application, so we helped contribute to that. But I think the actual venture itself is something like $50,000 or some crazy number. Like how are 4 young women going to raise? I don't want to know the answer to that question. Wait a minute, I don't want to know that. Maybe we should just get to our interview. What do you say?
I think that would probably be a good idea. We really should just get to the interview with Mike. Yeah, let's dive into that. Go ahead,
okay.
Mike.
All right, Mike DeCecco, ParentCo, let's do it. Let's dive into the world of being a parent today on The Nice Guys. And many in our community are parents, but if you're not, get set as Mike DeCecco helps us understand this unique format of bringing information to your market and reaching over 1 million unique visitors with ParentCo pretty quickly. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, Mike.
Thanks so much, Doug. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm really quite interested in this transition. Actually, maybe this reinvention that you that happened in your life. You went from the world, it looked like, of automotive digital to a parent and caregiver website. Okay, so tell us about that, and then we'll talk a little bit about ParentCo and what you guys do there.
Yeah, it's a really I don't know if it's an interesting story, but it's certainly been a transition. Automotive. We went from SaaS. I was in the software as a service business in automotive, working for a big player in the space called dealer.com. It went through an acquisition by a larger company in the space in 2014, and started to think about now that there was a new player in the space and things were going to change. Was it the right time for me to strike out on my own and do something that was out of my comfort zone, so to speak? And so I started thinking about the things that were important to me in my life. And at that time, we had an 8-month-old child. And I said, well, that's the most important thing in my life right now. So why not start a business that has something to do with that? And that's kind of how ParentCo was born.
So what were you doing with dealer.com? Dealer.com? Boy, what a tough domain that must have been to get. I can only imagine the dollars that they had to spend on that one.
Yep. That was an expensive one.
How what position did you hold in that world?
So at dealer.com, I was running the business development team. So we were doing, I personally was overseeing strategic deals with automotive manufacturers, largest players in the space, how we could connect Deal.com to other players in the industry to kind of, 1 + 1 = 3 sort of things, those sorts of deals.
So help me for a second, because a number of the people in the Nice Guy community, I'm sure, have online businesses and they're providing bulletin boards and they have walls and they have their Facebook pages and how do you grow a company as quickly as you did to 1 million? And again, correct me if I got the numbers wrong, but I think somewhere I read that you had 1 million unique visitors within 6 months of starting. How do you even amass that kind of network?
Well, I think for us, it came down to looking at where the white space was in the parenting community, the online parenting community, and trying to tailor our content. So, from our perspective, content is king. And it seems like that's the way the world works on the internet these days. And so we started to look at what was out there, the landscape that was out there, and how could we provide something that was unique. And so we really focused on putting together very thoughtful, research-driven, but also some personal essays about the experience of parenting. But that's one thing that we wanted to focus on, was that parents today are just as curious about the world themselves as they are about being great parents. So we wanted to make sure that we were including the experience of parenthood, and not just tips on how to keep your toddler from having a tantrum, that sort of stuff.
So why don't we back up just for a second and just talk about what Parent Co does, and then we can figure out how that fits into the world that we're dealing with, which is our Nice Guy community.
Sure. So what Parent Co is essentially an online community where we have, like you said, now we're well above the 1 million unique visitor threshold, but we're on multiple platforms. We're publishing content on Facebook, all the usual social channels, and all those sorts of things. But we also have a writers community of over 200 writers that are submitting their work to Parent Co. So we get hundreds of submissions every week. And we kind of curate those submissions, edit them, post them up on the site, pay the writers for that work. And then what we do is go out and work with brands, like-minded brands that we're interested in working with, to create sponsored content engagements so that they can have a deeper relationship and access to our audience of parents.
So in essence, it really could work in any environment that you have a level of expertise. You have a clearinghouse, I guess, of all of these writers. People come to you, and it sounds like you mentioned something very key. You pay your writers to actually be a part of that space. So help make it relatable for everybody that's in the Nice Guy community. Is this something that was a challenge to put together? Is there a system for that? Is there something that you created? How did you put together a system of this network of writers? And that eventually, I'm assuming, led to now you have sponsors that want to participate as well.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we did was we brought on folks to work with us that had connections in the writer community, and they could tell us where the conversations were happening in the writers community. There's a whole bunch of groups and boards and sites dedicated completely to freelance writing, so what we did there, we started with a conversation engaging those folks on, are you interested in writing about these topics? Are you a parent? Do you have a perspective? We're paying for submissions. And before you know it, that community just starts spreading the word about you as another outlet and a place. And so that's really kind of how we started to amass a group of writers.
That's got to be great. And what an interesting process that had to have been. So help relate to the Nice Guy community for a second. Say, for example, we have some listeners that are not parents. And you'd mentioned this really key phrase that I had seen many times in the literature that's written about your organization and some of the things that you had written as well. You talk about this thing called white space, and we all think we know, and we hear white space and we know what it is, but there is a specific definition that you're using. What is white space, and how does that separate you from all your competition?
I think it's a great question, Doug, because it can be defined in so many different ways, right?
For sure.
I think if you were to look at the opportunity, what is the business that you want to be? And then take a look at all the other businesses you can find that are relative in your space, and essentially create a SWOT. So go through and create a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, kind of threats, and take a look at all the businesses that are out there. Gather all the information you can about them, create your SWOT analysis for all these, and then the white space will start to emerge for you. You'll be able to start to see where are the weaknesses in these other businesses. Is there a theme across those? And is that something that when we want to create our business, is that something that we can tap into?
Okay, so help me for a moment again. And you brought up something that maybe I should hear this all the time. The fact that I didn't go to business school. I think I actually only graduated from elementary school because at that point I stopped listening beyond elementary. I may have actually made it through college, but I did not go beyond elementary school mentally. Tell me about the uniqueness that you actually let's specifically talk about Parent Co. What did you see as, man, this is just not an angle that's being touched upon by the parent community that's out there? Because I would think that everything would be covered.
Yeah, and a lot of it is covered, but maybe with the perspective that we thought could be unique. So from the Parent Co perspective, we went out and we looked at those white spaces, took a look at everything that's out in the landscape, and it seems that there were two kind of distinct camps. There was the mommy camp, right? So there was and the kind of the parenting advice camp, what to do with when your kid is teething, and advice and tips and tricks and that sort of thing. And then there was like the wine mom community, which was like, oh my God, parenting is so hard. I can't wait to get home and drink a bottle of wine tonight because that's the only way I can get through it.
Yeah.
We think that's a little played out. We don't want to play in that space. So what we're trying to think is, okay, we have an opportunity here to talk about the experience of parenthood and not the tips and tricks to be a better parent, but what's it like to actually go through this process as an adult and be able to relate on that level. And there's also a side of us that we thought we could fill a void with a little bit of snarkiness, but not over the top, a slightly irreverent take on some topics. But the main thing that we thought was missing was the ability to tackle ubiquitous parenting problems from a research-backed and driven approach, where a lot of what's in the parenting space on the internet right now is opinion. My opinion, because of my experience with my kid, is this. And so what we thought we wanted to do was reach out, and we know that there's questions that every parent has. So what we did was, when we started getting a big audience on the site, we went out and started launching polls to try to, we all have questions about, wouldn't it be great if we could poll 1 million parents and find out what their thoughts and feelings were about a particular subject? Yeah. And so what we did was we started doing those sorts of things, and some key themes started to emerge from us in those responses.
So you actually, your listeners then were helping you define your white space.
Absolutely. So we would go out and say, we ask questions about what's your biggest fear for your kids as they grow older. Discovered that, get an addiction to drugs and alcohol is a really big fear for most parents. And it's like, of course, right? Of course, every parent thinks that. Not a lot of people are writing about that. Not a lot of people are writing about the soft underbelly, so to speak, of parenting, the things that everybody has in the back of their head that I really hope this doesn't happen to me. I wish there was some information that could help me through this process.
No, what a great thing. So help me for a second again, because let's come out of Parent Co for a second and just get into the business building spot. Sure. What challenges did you have in the beginning when you first got started? Because it sounds like you were going from square one, weren't you?
Yeah, we actually, Parent Co evolved from an interesting pivot story. So we started off the business thinking, okay, we want to build a business that's in the parenting space. But based on my experience with SaaS, we said, well, let's build a SaaS software company that has to do with parents. There's all kinds of problems we can solve through software in the parenting space, whether it be how to protect your kid's identity by creating a private place to share photos and those sorts of things. Or maybe we could put something together to help parents find rides for their kids and carpooling. And there's a million different things you could use software for. What we realized really quickly is that's tremendously difficult. It takes
and a lot of trust, and you have to build trust quickly.
Absolutely. And it's also very difficult to create a monetization strategy around those particular products. So what we did was we launched Parent.co as an owned marketing channel to try to seed conversations that could help us determine where we thought the company should go. So if we launched this blog, we had 2 folks that were solely focused on it on the team, and they started churning out some really great content. And one of our writers, Sarah Goldstein, put up a piece that was called 30 Questions to Ask Your Kid Instead of How Was Your Day? Yeah. Very simple question, right? Yeah. Totally a completely simple concept. That piece has just surpassed 1 million shares on the internet. Wow. And it was the moment for us that we decided, hey, maybe there's a business here. It's a much lower barrier to entry. We don't have to have a massive staff. We can, create a community of outsourced writers so we don't have a lot of in-house costs and overhead to be able to get this off the ground. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Sorry, you're being arrested.
And so it made it clear for us that was the direction that we should go in. It was just the lowest barrier to entry and the quickest path to monetization and growth.
No, that sounds great. All right, I'm going to ask you. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I have 5 questions I want to ask you. I've never done this with any guest, but as I was thinking about having you on the show today, these things really came to me because there's a certain level of relatability that people are going to have when it comes to parenting. If you either are a parent or you're not. And if you're not a parent, it's like, okay, tune out. Well, no, I don't want people to tune out. I want them to listen because you really have some serious shit going on over there, don't you? So
yeah, sorry about that.
No, all good, man, all good. So I wanted to try to make it as relatable as possible to the Nice Guy community because I think that what you have done is tremendous in the level of success that you've reached in such a quick period of time in building Parent Co. So here are these 5 questions. I'm going to ask them, and I'm going to ask you if I could just humor me for a moment. Spend maybe 20 seconds or less. I know it's tough, especially for a guy like me who runs diarrhea of the mouth. Spend 20 seconds or less just responding to the exact question without moving off in a tangent. I know that for me is totally impossible. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Here come the 5.
All right.
Okay. Be relatable. What do you suck at?
Wow. Spreadsheets.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty simple. So so without getting into the second question, how do you even get around that?
I've learned very quickly.
Either spreadsheets or delegate people to read the spreadsheet.
Yeah. Please help me with this spreadsheet. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's cool. Be transparent. How did you pay your bills when you first got going?
We went out and we raised seed money.
Oh.
We were fortunate where we had a number of connections in the community and went out and raised seed money. I had gone through an acquisition, was able to pony up some of my own money to help bootstrap in the beginning, and that's how we did it.
Okay, cool. Be confident. What do you as an entrepreneur do as good as it gets?
Transparency, I think. I think you got to talk to your team about what's going on and the reality of the situation that you're in. Running a startup is not easy to do. And sacrifices have to be made. People need to step up to the plate. And so just be clear about what the expectations are.
Oh, that's a good one. And I think that's where a lot of people falter. I know that people sometimes get that wimpy gene, from either because they've worked for somebody for so long and they're very, very hesitant to actually tell people exactly how they feel. Be humble. What experts did you need to call upon to make shit happen in the begining?
Oh, we needed a lot of experts to to help us get through the beginning. We really relied heavily on our mentors. Especially myself, I relied heavily on the mentors that I had grown up with in business, and I think you can reach out to those people, and they're so happy to help you again, especially when they know that you're doing something on your own if they were entrepreneurs themselves. So rely on your community.
Oh, very good. Excellent one. And be realistic. Where are you going to be in the next 90 days, and how far into the future can you actually see?
We're trying to look out a year into the future, but man, is that tough to do.
Really hard to do.
Yeah, it's really hard to do. I think from our perspective, we try to look at what's going to happen in the year, knowing that that's the ideal situation. And then we just manage the pitfalls along the way, because running a business and starting a small business, the entire thing is all just handling bad news. How do you manage, it's just problem after problem after problem. And then you have to really celebrate the successes when they come.
Oh, I agree with that one. Celebrate successes. Not enough people actually do that. They dwell so much on the negativity and they don't get a chance to celebrate what's going on. Realistically, excuse me, can you see how far out can you see realistically? I mean, generally with my business, I can tell about 90 days in advance what's going to happen. It's like I can actually come up with numbers and forecast, but beyond when it gets into that 4th month, for me, it's very, very hard. How about in your business?
Yeah, I think for us, we're so new that we can realistically see probably that 90-day window and be exact with numbers. But we're also kind of looking at what else is happening in the space and kind of see the trends coming, and start to think about how you can capitalize on those and hope that you can, so that 6 months from now you've positioned yourself in such a way that you can take advantage of the next opportunity. But yeah, I mean, if I'm being realistic on hard, cold numbers, it's probably 90 days. We're probably in the same ballpark.
Do you have time for just a couple more personal questions and then we'll conclude the interview?
Sure.
All right, great. Do you have your cell phone anywhere near you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Do you have an iPhone or something inferior?
I have an iPhone.
Okay, excellent. Go to your picture app. Tell me the last photo you took.
Okay, let's take a look here. My picture app. The last photo I took on my picture app. It is a picture of Arnold Palmer.
Oh.
Who recently passed away. It was like a golfing legend, one of my golf heroes. I'm an avid golfer. And that's the last picture I took. It was out of a magazine that I had, and I posted on Facebook with some heartfelt moments for a fallen golfer.
Yeah, totally. The golfing community lost an amazing guy with Arnold when he passed, for sure. I remember the era of Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and Fuzzy Zeller and Gary Player, and I was actually named after Doug Sanders, the golf pro. My dad was a huge golfer in the 50s and 60s, and that was his legacy got to live on through me. And I'm a crappy golfer, but I still hack around the course a little bit. All right, and go to your texting app. Tell me the last received and last sent text message.
Last received text. Okay. All right, so let's see. That would be from my business partner, Justin, who sent me a text this morning and said, hey, look at the Burlington Free Press. There's a really great shout out for Parent Co.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Business related. And how about the last one you sent out?
I received. And the last one I sent out to my wife was drop off was great. Dominic was excellent this morning.
Oh, how old is Dominic?
He's 4.
Is he your only right now?
Only right now, yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations for that. And thank you so much for indulging the Nice Guy community with not only the 5 questions, but those last couple.
You got it. Absolutely.
Going on. If my crew, my community was interested in getting in touch, it sounds like they're just going to go to parent.co. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Excellent. Any more information, any wise words of wisdom before we finish up?
No, I think that's it. Just stick it out. There's going to be some days when you're really going to want to quit.
That's like every day, but you got to work through it.
Yeah, it's really difficult, but you will get through it. You will get through it.
Agree 100%. Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Special thanks to our guest, Mike DeCecco. Thanks again, Mike from Parent Co. for being a part of our plans today.
Thanks so much, Doug. Really appreciate it.
Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. And may the force be with them. They need all the help they can get.